Hello everybody and welcome back. So it is that time of month, wrap up time. So we're doing my August wrap up. I know I say this in them all, but like, how is it already the end of August? We are going to be chatting about the books that I read in August. It wasn't a super great reading month because I didn't read for like the first half of the month, which I don't really know why or how that happened, but do you have any input? No? Okay. He's waiting for me to P-L-A-Y with him. I think he can spell. Anyway, so the first book I read was Behind the Net. I read this on my Kindle, so I don't have it, and I don't know who the author is or the names are. It's a hockey romance. This was my first ever hockey romance, which I cannot believe I haven't read one before because I feel like that whole realm is super popular. I give this book a 4-star, you guys. It was so good. So it's about this hockey player. I don't know his name and I don't have the physical copy, so I really couldn't tell you. He basically finds a dog and he's like, I can't take care of this dog and play hockey, like I need help. He talks to his coach and is like, yo, I need an assistant or something. So then our main girl, don't know her name, but she gets hired to be his like assistant type thing. And when they meet for the first time, she's like, oh my gosh, I went to high school with this dude, and then he's like, oh my gosh, I went to high school with her, but they don't say anything to each other. So they both like know each other, but they don't like talk about it, and it is so cute and I love it. And there's so many like side parts of the story too, like with the dog and with some family things, and it is so good. Please read this book. I think it's gonna be a series, not for sure. Everyone and their mother has been reading this series, so I finally did. The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This was so good. Another 4-star book. So good. Just didn't get that 5-star feeling, and I don't think about it as much as I think about my other 5-star reads. So a 4, but it was so good. One thing I will say about the ending, it was entertaining and good, but it was like a little far-fetched, and I'm like, this didn't really have to be this way. It was such a good book and it is so entertaining and fun. The main premise of this is there are, I think, 4 or 5 of them, I can't remember exactly, like teenagers who the FBI selects because they all have some sort of ability, whether that's being a lie detector, good with statistics, a profiler, can read emotions, all of that. They get pulled by the FBI to work on these cold cases. So you're following them, like getting to know each other, learning more about each character, and working on these cases, and it is so much fun. There's like a found family aspect because they all live together, and it's so good. And then the next one, Killer Instinct, I give this I think a 4.5 or a 4.25. This one was so interesting and good. You learn a lot about the character's past. It kind of ties into the present in this one, and this one is so interesting. You really get into the like solving cases aspect in this one, and this one was like twisted and good, and it was so good. And then so the next couple books are gonna be in a video either next week or the week after. For that, I read Joint Custody. Hey Zug, come here. He thinks there's something outside. Look at that. Look at that. They're legit the same dog almost. So I picked this up. I picked this up at half price. Never seen it before. Obviously I wanted it because literally that right there on the book. I gave it a 3-star. It was a great story and entertaining while I was reading it, but I don't really think about it. And I think I'm kind of making myself like it more than I did because my dog is on the cover, you know? But it is told from the dog's perspective, which one thing with that though is it was kind of like far-fetched. Like the dog would be like describing something he wasn't even at. And I'm just like, yeah, for sure. Like he was describing when people were somewhere and he wasn't even there. I'm like, how do you know? It's definitely not realistic or like a dog's telling the story, but it is still good. But the premise of it is the dog's 2 owners, a girl and a guy, don't remember their names. They have broken up and they have joint custody over him. So he gets him like the whole week and then she gets him on the weekends. The dog wants them back together. So he's doing things to try and push them back together. And basically the story is just the dog trying to push them back together, the couple trying to, you know, move on, figure their lives out after the breakup, and the ending isn't what I expected to happen, but it was still really good. Okay, and then I read Love and Other Great Expectations by Becky Dean. This book, the cover is adorable, and the premise of this book is our main girl Britt, she is offered the chance to win a big chunk of change if she goes to London and goes on this like literary scavenger hunt type thing. Like she has to find certain like things that are referenced in popular classic books, and if she like writes the best little essay about it, she'll win the money and she can use that for college. I gave this book 2.75 or 3 stars. I cannot decide. It wasn't a bad book, but I literally forgot I read this. But I did enjoy it while reading it. I liked how they were on like a scavenger hunt. It was just a little hard for me to connect with. I didn't necessarily love the characters and like the whole idea of it centering around like classic books. I haven't read a single classic in my life, so that I was just not clicking with. But I feel like if you have, you might like this. The main girl also did kind of annoy me a little bit at the beginning. She was fine towards the end, but at the start, I don't know, I just wasn't vibing with her. But it's cute. There's a little romance, there's friendships, there's like kind of side plots of her relationship with other characters who are on the scavenger hunt, and it's interesting, and I definitely recommend it. It was a fun read. It just wasn't something super incredible or memorable for me. And then I have one more book I read, and then I'm going to talk about the ones that I think deserve to be talked about, even though I'm not totally done with them. And then I read Little White Lies by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is called the Debutante series. It's another series by her that I have seen no one talk about, but I wanted to pick it up because I've loved all of her books. Every book I've read by hers I've rated at least 4 stars, and I love her writing, the fast chapters, all of that, and she's just like an incredible author. And it says in her like profile thing, it says she's a professor. Like, I want to take her class so bad. University of Oklahoma. Yeah, I would go to college there just to take her just kidding. No, but seriously, I think taking one of her classes would be so good. I feel like because she's such a good author, and like I think she teaches psychology and writing, and either one of those, you could just tell she's amazing at it based on what she writes. The premise of the story, it's kind of similar to the Inheritance game. Our main girl, Sawyer. So our main girl, Sawyer, she lives in kind of like a small town with her mom, and her mom's little out there, you know, isn't always there for Sawyer, and they are both working hard and they don't have a ton of money. Sawyer's grandma shows up at her house and is like, yo, I got a deal for you. I'll give you X amount of money if you do this for me. So Sawyer's like, yeah, we need the money, I'll do it. So she basically has to become a debutante, and go through all of these like debutante activities and all of that, and live with the grandma in this like mansion. So she goes and does that, and then at the end of the time she'll get the money. But Sawyer also doesn't know who her father is because just her mother has raised her. So by going to her grandma's, she is also like, yeah, I can figure out who my dad is. I don't really know what you'd say the main plot of this is. There's some sort of mystery aspects. Honestly, I was expecting a lot more from it based on her other books. Probably another 3-star. I just was expecting so much more from this book, and I guess there wasn't much going on. Like, obviously there was little mysteries and like stuff going on, but like nothing huge like her other books. And normally there's some like massive plot twist, and like there kind of was, but there is some twists and turns towards the end and some just like unexpected things, but nothing too crazy. And I don't even know what you'd consider the main plot of this, like just debutante activities and some mystery aspects. And one thing about this is the pacing was pretty odd sometimes. So it jumps back from the past to the present. For the main chunk of the story, you were in the past, and so you were trying to figure out how they connected and what led to the present, and that was just a letdown too. Like, it just wasn't, it was so built up and then it fell extremely flat. So yeah, I think I will continue with the other book. I just don't know, it just didn't live up to what I thought it'd be. And then what I'm currently reading and might finish by the end of the month, we'll see. I'm doing the tandem read. I'm about 50% through Todd and a third of the way through EOS. So I just wanted to talk about these because technically by the chunk I've read out of both, it's a full book. I might finish it, who knows? But so far this is going great. I am actually loving the tandem read. I think it's great because if I had to read this and then read the same exact timeline just from a different story, I'd be so bored. And like just reading Tower of Dawn, who follows one set of characters, would be excruciating, I think. Whereas by tandem reading it, I get a break from these characters and can go into these for a bit, and vice versa. I'm loving it. It's actually going good. I just tabbed each stopping point, and I'm interested to see how it keeps going because they're both told from the same timeline. Like, I'm interested to see like if each events connect somehow. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this, let me know down below and comment if you read any of these books and what's on your September TBR. Bye!